All right, fellas, let's go ahead and get into it, man. The first topic of tonight is Triple H racist. I know that's a clickbait. That's a clickbait title
Oh
for
man,
tonight.
people are definitely gonna click on that.
Oh yeah. I can already see the fighting in the comment section. But
Mhm.
uh, long story short, man, since Vince McMahon has been removed from WWE, you had a good contingency of fans who thought it was all sweet. It was all good. No more racism. All is well now with WWE. Well, not so fast, my friend. You've been having a number of instances of talent leaving. That's normal. That's natural. But two in particular, being MVP and Bobby Lashley, as of late, have decided to leave WWE. We don't know if they're going to pop up at AEW. I know just recently MVP popped up for Bloodsport. That's awesome. That's dope. I love it. The return of the Ronin. I'm all for it. But on MVP's way out, he kind of he kind of liked a couple comments and
Hmm.
he liked a couple comments and feedback from some fans that would probably mention that Triple H isn't a fan of the blacks, preferably black men, almost to the point of emasculation. That I think that was the term that was used, which I do like to argue every now and then with some of you goofies online. But let's talk about it, man. I'm gonna go to you first, Nathan. Question: Is Triple H racist?
Yeah, it's hard to say. You have to kind of define what you mean by racist because when you look at Triple H's career, there's a lot of things that stick out. Like the nation angle, the Booker T angle, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that it makes it very easy to point to him and say that he is racist. Along with when you look at the list of people that have left WWE since 2020, the beginning of 2024, um, again, it makes it very easy to say that he's racist. Just going over the people that were on the main roster, excluding everyone from NXT that's been let go. It was
Mm-hmm.
names like Jinder Mahal, Senga, Veer Mahan, Zaya Quinn, Zaya Lee, and then you have Cameron Grimes and Drew Gulak. Drew Gulak
Mm-hmm.
kind of being a separate thing.
For sure.
Um, but when you see those names, it does kind of point to racism.
Mm.
But I think if you look a little deeper, in some of those circumstances, those people were brought in and used by Vince specifically for racist angles, racist connotations.
This is true.
Um, so in a way, I think it's too early to say whether he's
Mm.
racist or not. I think we need more time. We haven't seen the type of race baiting angles that you would see from Vince. We haven't really seen too many of those yet.
That's true.
But it's still early. It's still early in the run. So I don't want to say he's racist in a sense this early, but again, you look back at the old stuff that he's kind of been attached to in his career,
Mm-hmm.
and you can ask yourself who's to blame for that, but he ultimately did it. So
That's these are valid points, man. Brad, what do you think, man?
Yeah, to piggyback off of Nathan, and even when I seen the initial question and gave it some thought and wrote down some things, Triple H in his career has had very um I guess like um feuds that raise the racial tension lines, things he said to
Mm.
Booker T, Nation, a domination angle doing a blackface. Ultimately, what I came into conclusion to, and what Nathan kind of harped on, is Triple H is protected by a system. He's protected by a system of writers. He's protected by a system of pro wrestling. He's protected by fans who, for decades, have functioned within this system of towing the racial line and the racial undertones.
Mm-hmm.
So now when people start to call these things out, it's kind of like, again, this is pro wrestling, right? This
Mm.
is the pro wrestling that allow you, guys who don't have any personality themselves to tell you a guy doesn't have personality or a guy doesn't have charisma. Um, the only thing I can say about Triple H is this:
Mm-hmm.
the black women are saving him. The black
Mm.
women are saving him.
It's true.
What he's did with, like likes of Bailey and Bianca and Amber Moon and Asuka and different things like that. And not even the black women, the women in general. Now that I start to
Mm-hmm.
name them, the women are really kind of saving them as far as black acts. And again, year after year, I wonder, what is it? Is there particular numbers we're not seeing to where like these guys are bombing out in segments?
Mm-hmm.
Are they not drawing? Are they not selling the merch he's looking for? What is it? Hurt Business, when they got together and when Bloodline got together, we were kind of just like, yo, this is an automatic. Like
People were behind it.
yeah, we were like, oh, we know this is going down at Survivor Series. It never happened. It never happened. You had Cedric Alexander and Kota Ibushi in the Cruiserweight Classic. People were screaming for Cedric Alexander. They did next to nothing with him. He had that 2018-19 205 Live, that run where they were
Mm.
having those great matches at the 10 o'clock hour. Outside of that, with the Hurt Business, he hasn't done anything. Is Triple H racist? He's protected by a system. He's protected by a system that allow him to sulk and do what he wants until somebody comes and penetrate or break through that system.
Mm.
It's gonna be what it's gonna be.
I feel that. I like both of you all's answers and your insight for sure. Um, we didn't bring up ACH's incident because honestly, that's what ultimately turned me away from WWE for a good portion because I was so annoyed with how blatantly ignorant and racist that shirt concept and all of that was. And I
And that
know
was Triple H.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's under him, and
I didn't even think
that
about that.
dude, that pissed me completely off. Now, when it comes to racism or something like that, it's a very nuanced conversation. So I
Yeah,
do appreciate you all's thoughts and your opinions on it. Um, and I value it. I mean, I love having conversations with both of you one on one, whether it's in a group, out in public, or private messages. All day we talk about things like this. So um, for me, I think racism is like a spectrum.
yeah,
Like on one end, you're wearing a robe every Sunday, like that sort of thing. On the other end, you're not hiring this person because you can't pronounce their name. And I think that all of that falls under racism. Am I just going to say he's a blatant racist? Probably not. But there are elements that would suggest that Triple H goes along with racist connotations.
yeah.
Like you said, Brad, systems that may or may not be racist. And hint, hint, folks, spoiler alert, it is racist. So that's my opinion. Luckily, we have some of these women holding it down, whether they're black or Asian, that sort of thing, and they're getting some focus on them. And it's encouraging me to think that hopefully somebody's back there that can say, "Hey, boss, chill out." If he is like that, you know what I'm saying? Because that ultimately was the downfall of someone like Vince McMahon. That someone really couldn't tell him, "Hey, man, chill out."
Right.
You,
Yeah, yeah. With Vince, I think it was kind of with Vince. I think of a lot of it boiled down to appearance, what he wanted the company to appear like, and with Triple H, like you said, I think it's more of an if there is racism there, it's more of an underlying
mm-hmm,
racism where I think the bottom line with Triple H is I think he just wants to make money. Where
mm,
with Vince, people would use that excuse with Vince for a long time, like, oh, why would Vince bring this person in just to embarrass them, just to whatever? But now we know what kind of person Vince was.
Right.
So I think at least with Triple H there will be more opportunity. But where that goes, only time will really tell.
That's a fact, and it'll be just our luck next Tuesday on NXT. They send somebody out in blackface, so we don't know.
Please
Right.
don't.
If you haven't already, like, comment, subscribe, and of course, look us up on socials at Suplex Dinner Club. And be sure to check out our other projects. We talk college football on Dogs versus All Y'all. That's a weekly college football podcast where we don't just talk about the Georgia Bulldogs, we talk about all things college football. The Life and Times Pod, which is short for the Life and Times of a Restaurant Lifer podcast, where I have some chill conversations with some cool and interesting people that I've met in my years in the hospitality industry. And of course, check out Talk 'em in the Building. That's a pro wrestling podcast where we solely focus on the promo. We talk about the talkers, we hype the hype man, and we pontificate on the promo. It's a fun project, and if you're a pro wrestling fan, I'm sure you're going to enjoy it. If you're into TV and movie reviews, check out Four Corners Cinema with Ari and Adrian, a podcast where two lifelong pro wrestling fans review film and other forms of media that just so happen to have some of our favorite pro wrestlers. The Suplex Dinner Club family is growing, and I would love for you to be a part of it.